Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MiniLCS Summer Invitational 2026. This is a big day today. We have not one, not two, not three, but 7 games happening all at the same time. We have Wind versus Mace deck of cards in the hard start. We have Critical Fart versus Artificial Wiener in the hard start. Another hard start game, well, another 2 hard start games in loser round 1. 2 teams will be knocked out today from the hard starts. We have Kind versus Eclipse, and then we have one of the TOs, the tournament organizers teams, Beer Before League versus Team Revenant. One of those be going out. Will Day Zero be knocked out? We're gonna have to find out later on. We also have in the Sweatlords the Big Bad Buttercups versus Shamika. That one of those teams are going to be knocked out. We have the game we're streaming today right now, the Project Strix versus the Chudlings. And then the last game today is Dagestonian's Death Squads versus Wizard Ninjas, my former team, the Dagestonian Death Squads. Will they be knocked out? I don't know. Now, earlier on, we did have a Weenie Hut special game streamed by Tuber. Thank you very much, on the Runeterra Rising. And that was... oh, I can't even remember what it was, and I watched the whole bloody thing. That was a semi-final or winners final, whatever you want to call it, in the Weenie Hut. Let me just get up the website to actually just remind myself what the hell it was. I think it was Holy Poro versus Rift Raiders. That was it. And if you don't want any spoilers, close your ears for 5 seconds. You know, Holy Poro's won. It was a 3-1. Rift Raiders were just coming back, edged it in game 3. But then game 4, the Holy Poro with that Cho'Gath, that big boy Cho'Gath, just dominated. But let's get on to today's game, which is a Sweatlords, to get into this semi-final / winners finals. Project Strix versus Chudlings. And with me to cast, I have a friend of Project Strix. Some people may know him as Day Zero Sun, but we know him as Sun. Welcome.
Hello. Glad to be able to join today.
Now, what do you know? What is your connection to Project Strix?
Well, Froly is my friend for almost a year now, and Poseidon coached my team in winter of this year. So I do have some connections to both of them. But the rest of the team I honestly know nothing about, so I'd say I'm a 40% friend of Project Strix. Okay. Well, on the other side, in the Chudlings, we have a former winner of the MiniLCS Winter Open, formerly the Cutters Cuties. I believe that's North Stream, but we also have one of our moderators, Gekno, in here. And with that, we're actually just going to go right into draft. So Project Strix have elected to take the blue side, and we're seeing already Rek'Sai, a Vi band, so looking here at the jungle bands. And on the other side, we're seeing a Gwen, and I could never pronounce that champion's name correctly. Kiana.
There we go, thank you.
I think the bands here make a lot of sense.
Project Styx is target banning out Dino, who is possibly the best player in this whole tournament, at least rank-wise. While Chudlings are focusing more on the OTPs on the side of Project Styx.
Okay. Now we're getting a Victor picked one. The question is that are we seeing this whole mage ADC? Is that a Victor in the bot or is that a Victor mid?
I think we'll have to wait to see. It could honestly be both at this stage of the game. At this stage of the draft, my bad.
And that's an Orianna. Probably in the mid lane. I don't think I've ever seen that in the bot lane.
Yeah, Orianna is, if I remember correctly, one of Northstream's more favorite champions, so I would think he is picking it for himself. We see the Sivir come out. So for the side of Chudlings, we already know the Orianna is 100% going mid lane and Sivir is gonna be in the bot lane.
Yeah, we're not seeing no mage shenanigans in the bot lane from the Chudlings. I like to see that because I do not understand this whole meta right now.
Yeah, the meta right now is a little bit confusing.
And then we're getting a Yone and a Sejuani. Now that Yone, see, we still can't confirm where these people are going because that Victor could go bot, that Yone could go mid, that Yone could go top.
Personally, I think it is gonna be Yone mid lane because Frawley is a big fan, or not a big fan, but it is one of the champions he picks a lot of the time. So this could be, in my honest opinion, this is gonna be Victor bot and Yone mid lane.
Okay. How does so where actually do you play? Well,
I play all over the Rift. I change my main role every few weeks just based on mood.
Oh, okay, all right. So how does Yone go into Orianna then?
As far as I know, it should be like an even matchup, slightly skill dependent. So Orianna obviously kinda oppressive laner, has a really good control over the lane for most of the lane, while Yone is always looking to go for the all-in with the lethal tempo and his E.
Okay. And then
really, the matchup really depends on if the Orianna can sidestep the Yone Qs and all that stuff, because Yone obviously only sometimes has a limited window to go on the Orianna.
Okay, and then we see an Olaf for the Chudlings. Now that could be an Olaf top, most likely an Olaf top. I don't think that's a counter to Sejuani in the jungle. And with the bans, we're seeing a Nocturne ban from Project Styx. So yeah, they think that Olaf is going top. And then we're seeing just support bans. We've got the Alistar and the Nautilus from the Chudlings. Yep, Project Styx, another ban, the Jarvan. So that Olaf most likely is going to go top, unless they're feeling cheeky and they want to flex.
I mean, it could still be Olaf jungle. Dino has been playing Olaf, I think. Bans overall here really make sense. Obviously, Project Styx are not leaving it up to chance. They are banning out the rest of Dino's champ pool. While Chudlings seem to believe that this indeed is Yone mid and Victor bot, because they are banning the best supports for Victor APC. Obviously, I think the whole idea behind the mages on bot lane is that they kinda can just farm waves and not interact that much, so the support can just roam. So banning Alistar and Nautilus, who have great roaming potential, just works out really well.
Yeah, and so we're seeing now the Karma and the Nami come out. What will be this last pick for Project Strix? Okay, oh, okay. And then Bessa. Interesting.
I honestly really like Ambessa here. I think she is one of the safer top lane blind picks. And obviously she can cause quite a lot of trouble in the backline if she manages to hit her ult.
Now what will we see from the Chudlings? Will we see a top lane or will we see a jungle? Or will we see nothing? Oh, it's a Pantheon, okay. Well, here again we can...
I think we still have to wait a little bit to see where the Olaf and the Pantheon could go, because both of them could go to either lane. But I also think it's gonna be Pantheon top lane, because I think Gekno has played it before. But
yeah, this Pantheon could be going in the top, could be going jungle. I believe there have been comments made that he's better right now in the top than in the jungle, but we'll have to wait and see where this is going. Now with both these comps, what do you think? Who do you think is coming out on top?
honestly, considering how good both teams are, I think either side could take it. I think blue side draft is a little bit harder to play in game, while Chudlings went for the more safer options. Well, obviously they also have the option to just play around Olaf running in with Orianna ball on top of him and just taking the whole blue team with the Orianna ult.
That is definitely true.
I'd honestly, personally, I'd give it to the Chudlings just because they kind of have the, in my opinion, safer team comp, where there isn't that much that can go wrong. While Project Styx went for the slightly riskier team comp, because this Ambessa, if she falls behind at any point in the game, she might have a hard time getting back in. And obviously it's gonna be really hard hitting that ult on the Sivir with her spell shield, or on the Orianna with her massive movement speed from W.
Yeah, no, sure. I totally... I totally forgot about the Orianna ball. You know, she can throw that onto that Olaf, she can throw it onto the Pantheon. They're both going to be engaging, jumping in. And so a good ball, a good jump in, a good ult, that could cost the team.
I honestly still believe this could go either way. Again, Project Styx are embracing the current meta. Who knows? Maybe they will surprise and just dominate this game, purely because of embracing the meta.
Now, the predictions are live, ladies and gentlemen, so if you want to vote on who you think will win Game 1 of this series, vote now. Do you think Project Strix, or do you think the Chudlings? Use those coins that you've collected from watching the stream, because of course you have, you know, you've watched every single stream here. I think, looking at the comp, I'm going more, well, see, because you've got the Storm from Victor, Sejuani. It's more, so, with Project Strix, you have more, I guess, I call them ranged engages. You don't need to be diving in, so like Sejuani's ult can lock down someone, and Mbessa can ult and dash out straight. Well, sorry, you got Nami, ignore the Mbessa part. You got Nami's ult into potentially a Sejuani ult into a Yone ult. So picking off, I think Project Strix comp is very good for picking off like 1 or 2 players on their own. Chudlings, with the Orianna, it can grab in a whole team. The Civi is the only weak thing about the comp for me personally. So far in the MiniLCS, Civi hasn't been the best ADC champion to pick.
I personally think, as far as ADCs go here, Sivir is probably one of the best ones to fill out the comp that the Chudlings were going for. I can't really imagine any other option. Maybe Ezreal, because obviously again he is safe kinda against the dive potential also of Project Styx. But I don't think Lime really plays Ezreal, so the Sivir here really, to me at least, makes sense.
Yeah, now I need to slightly go AFK because I think something has come up that if a mod hasn't jumped into yet, I might need to jump in and fix. Something in the hard stock, someone's done some shenanigans here.
It's always the hard stock bracket making shenanigans.
Yeah, okay, I'll be back. You can entertain the people whilst we wait another 3 minutes until we get into game.
Alright. Personally, again, I really prefer the Chudlings comp here. I think the Olaf is gonna be a menace against basically the whole team Project Styx. I don't really see a way how they can really stop him from just running straight at the Victor, then the Yone, then the Mbessa. He's also gonna get move speed from the Karma. Pantheon is gonna dive right in with him. Orianna W movement speed. Like this Olaf, if he doesn't go completely nuclear this game, I'd be surprised. I don't think bot lane is gonna show us anything that special. It is kinda, the ADC matchup really is just farm wave versus farm wave, and just keep farming waves. The most entertaining matchup here should be the mid lane. Again, Yone versus Orianna matchup, in my honest opinion, is a skill matchup, so we will have to wait and see who ends up on top, at least on mid lane between Froley and North Stream. Well, top lane, I still don't know whether it's Mbessa top or not Mbessa top, whether it's Olaf top or Pantheon top. But personally, again, I think it's Pantheon top lane and Olaf jungle, but I will have to wait and see for confirmation. I don't think I've ever played the Mbessa Pantheon matchup, so I can't picture how that might go. However, Pantheon obviously a really oppressive champion early game against the Mbessa, who kind of has a weaker early game because their cooldowns are just insanely high early. It will. I think it will come down to who the better player between Poseidon and Gekno is. As for jungle, I don't think I've watched a single game from Project Styx yet, so I have no idea how their jungler plays. However, what I do know is how Dino plays. I've been tuning into his streams. He is a really good player, if I keep it completely honest with you guys. Like, I mean, there's a reason that they banned 4 champs against him. And Giant Jungle, honestly, probably is my weakest role, so I absolutely have zero idea about matchups. So I don't know how Olaf versus Sejuani goes. However, I'd assume Olaf kinda just stat checks her. But again, we will have to wait and see. Maybe Project Styx kinda surprise us and pull off this, in my opinion, kinda harder to navigate team comp. I don't think there's much else to say about the drafts. Personally, I think Project Styx are gonna be playing more for the picks on Orianna and Sivir. I mean, honestly, that's really their only real way of playing, because if they get stuck hitting the Olaf or Pantheon, who are also getting shielded by Orianna and Karma, then Sivir and Orianna are gonna just kill them.
I am back. That has been sorted. Hard suck shenanigans. We are going to go into game. Finally. What did I miss? What did he say?
Oh, I just talked about the draft. Kind of went into the individual lane matchups.
Okay.
There honestly wasn't much to talk about there. Bot lane is, I think, the most interesting lane in this game is gonna be the mid lane between the Yone and Orianna.
Mm-hmm.
Top lane will depend on how much Poseidon and Gekno decide to interact with each other.
And we're not...
And it is Pantheon top lane and Olaf jungle.
Okay. So those jungle bans were either irrelevant or...
They were kinda not relevant. I mean, Olaf was picked in the first rotation, but again, I can see why they think the Olaf could still be going top lane. So it is reasonable.
Now, I don't think... Now, we saw that Olaf with the Orianna in the mid lane. But I don't think the Yone got to actually put down a ward. Yeah, so...
He did not. So Olaf is gonna take Sejuani's whole bot side jungle here. without any contest, and I don't think they even have a way of finding out because they did not place any wards on enemy jungle.
No, they did not. So we can either be seeing he's just going to take all of those and go up to his blue, or we're going to see a gank straight away.
Could be an option. See some trades going on in top lane. Obviously Pantheon is kind of an oppressive champion early game. Versus the Mbessa, who has high cooldowns. I think Pantheon, if he decides to go for an all-in just because he has Ignite, he should be able to win. Especially if he manages to bait out Mbessa's cooldowns first.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is the time before level 6 for this Pantheon to go in. To get the upper hand, and as we see there, just a little poke.
Sejuani did not realize that her bot side got taken before recall in, so Dino should be able to clear his whole jungle here.
I think he's going to skip his blue for now. Yeah, he is. He's going to go straight for probably Raptors and then for the Scuttle. Whereas this Sejuani's going straight for the Scuttle. Okay.
Yeah, it does make kind of sense. The Olaf, obviously he didn't get his recall yet. Oh, Dino, it looks like Dino is looking for another invade here.
And we're potentially going to see a gank on the top from the Sejuani. Yeah, we are seeing it, just camera doesn't want to go. Oh. Just a little, just saying hello. That's all it is. Not much can come from this.
I think the biggest issue for Gekno right here was not even the gank. It was the fact that Mbessa already managed to get her recall off, because he is now stuck to lane while running low on mana, half HP.
Yeah, and an item down, even though it is just a sword, but
yeah,
every little helps.
However, because he doesn't have the teleport, he can't really just force his recall back.
Oh, double flash there.
Flash is going out on both sides.
Pantheon. And the Olaf is invading again. With Sejuani taking the red. Okay, so either the Sejuani realised or decided I'm just gonna see if I can invade.
I think the split map setup kind of favors Chudlings a bit more. Again, Gekno doesn't have the flash, but he is kind of safe with the Pantheon E, reducing all the damage he would take from one direction.
Oh, jumps in, ignite, spear, and that is the first kill going over to the Chudlings for Gekno.
That was a really nice solo bolo by Gekno. Poseidon attempted to freeze the wave, however, because I guess he expected Gekno to recall there. However, Gekno managed to catch him by surprise.
Yeah, and that ignite just gives that extra bit of damage, and leveling and getting level 6 just on that kill as well. Definitely helpful when they come back into lane. I feel Gekno's going to be a little even more aggressive now.
Very much so. Do see some trades happening bot lane. Everyone already got their first recall off. Looking at items right now. Standard builds from basically everyone. Nordstream is gonna go for the Road of Ages build. We can see by the 2 ruby crystals. So he is gonna be slightly tanky. He is gonna have a little bit less damage. However, I don't think the damage difference is that big, especially into this Yone matchup. Obviously, Yone, a glass cannon champion, cares more about just deleting the target really fast. So the Road of Ages build should give Nordstream a little bit more ruling potential into the Yone. while everyone else just seems to be going for the standard builds. Except for Poseidon, who seems to go for a serrated Dirk right now. And possibly the Profane Hydra build.
Well, that Olaf, yeah, the Olaf did get the smite out before. So this Olaf is trying to cement themselves as not the carry, but taking over everything. It's like, this isn't your jungle, this is my jungle. You're not getting anything here. You're the weaker champ here.
Yeah, the Olaf, especially here in early game, I think he has insane advantage over the Sejuani. He should be able to just really just stat check her, so he should not be scared of invading, especially because he also has prio on every lane around that bot side jungle. Realistically, Dino is probably just gonna take over this game at this point. He does kind of have a prey reign. Sejuani lane gangs the bot lane. And although for a second it looked like Lime might be able to get out, he does not after the Victor Flash. It is a bit unfortunate, however, they burn almost all of blue side's cooldowns.
I think we missed a kill in the top lane. Best going down again to have a replay of that. So Pantheon goes in with the ult, pushes the Ambessa into the river, and there luckily is an Olaf there to just swing an axe. And then looking at this replay back again, Sejuani still doesn't have the ult here, so can't do anything, but that Victus flash into the cube, very good.
Yeah, the Sejuani right now is gonna be really behind the Olaf, especially on EXP. She is, I'm counting right, 8 camps down right now. And Dino is invading yet again. There's not really a way to stop Dino from invading here. Another trade coming out on top lane. Lime is kind of suffering on bot lane right now, having to lane against both the Victor and Nami while his support was setting up vision. Honestly can't see if Sejuani ult was used in the play right here on mid lane. However, North Stream makes it out safely, so nothing really happens there. Drake is spawning in 30 seconds, so both sides are gonna look to start setting up around there. We do see resets coming out from everyone on red side, while blue side seems to be slowly hovering. Probably kind of a late reset. They might be, blue side might be giving this Drake unless they just force the contest.
Well, we can see in the minimap blue side huddling all into the tri-bush there. And yeah, they're going to catch up this Karma right here, and so that sets them up just for Dragon.
They're going. We see another fight top lane. Honestly, I will say that was kind of an unlucky play for Poseidon. I think he was playing around the fact that is exactly what I mentioned in draft. The Olaf just kind of gets to run at the enemy team and kill them all. They don't really have a way to stop him.
Well, the issue with that play right there was that Olaf jumped in, all of the focus was on the Olaf, but the Civil was just at the back, taking no damage and just picking everyone off, chunking away at their health. And what seemed to be, you know, a win and a dragon for the blue side now goes into the second dragon for the red side. And 3 men down. Olaf is 4-0 as Gekno gets another kill on this Bessa. This Bessa already died a few seconds ago.
Yeah, this Bessa is having a rough game. Personally, I really don't like ever itemizing lethality on Mbessa. I do kind of understand why Poseidon might have thought it's a good idea here instead of the bruiser build. You see Pantheon ult. I mean, honestly, what could have Froley done there? The Avengers decided to show up.
Yeah, it started off as just a 1v1 in the mid lane, and then look at that, Olaf coming out.
Olaf is just gonna run at them again. That is really nothing blue side can do about that. Even with Ghost down, this Olaf is always gonna be a threat, especially if the Karma or Orianna are near him, or even the Sivir, because all of them can give him movement speed, so he's just allowed to run at the enemy team for free without an issue.
Yeah, and if he pops off his ult just before his ult, are we going to see the Olaf get caught out? Ignite is ticking, but he will survive that. As 3 men try to come grab him. Oh, Sejuani, flash ult, and Bessa ult. Okay, I don't think that was necessary.
I think the Mbessa went out just to give the kill to the Mbessa.
But with that, what looked like a pick onto the Olaf, you know, getting that shot down quickly turned to a reverse sweep with, I think, what was that, 2?
Yeah, it was a 2-for-1 play, so while they did catch Dino and collected his shutdown, 2 of them still died. I think Gekno might be getting a bit too greedy here.
Oh, he does, and he feeds that gold over to the Yone, who, well, the mid lane is doing, it's even on both sides.
Yeah, after this shutdown, it is even. Honestly, if Gekno managed to somehow get both of them there and survive, it would be the best case scenario for him. He does get one and hands over the shutdown, which one could say is not really that good. However, he still has his individual lead, and honestly, from what we've seen so far, Nord Stream has been the better mid laner.
Well, so who do you think from Project Strix is like the main damage dealer? Who is it that should be getting all this gold funnel to them?
I think, considering the with the Mbessa going the Bastion Breaker, the lethality build, I think her being the main damage dealer was probably the plan in draft. Where now that she's really far behind, Project Strix should kind of change their game plan and focus more on the bot lane, as we see Dino yet again invade and kill the Sejuani. While Froley just runs at North Stream and just kind of kills him, because that's what his champion does. We did see North Stream flash the ult, however that did not even matter. Because again, while I'd personally say Yone is a bit of a weaker champion right now, even with Doran's bow. being a really good item for him. He just kind of in the individual 1v1, especially on mid lane, just kind of runs at the enemy team or the enemy mid lane and just kills them.
I was just seeing the fight just by the dragon pit.
Fight just breaks out right before Drake spawns. Project Sticks set up an amazing trap and kill Gekno. However, I also think they burned a lot of their cooldowns. It doesn't really matter because Chudlings are not going to contest.
Oh, but this Olaf might, as he ults in and he gets 1, he gets 2. Will he get 3? He's gonna get 3. Can he get 4? Oh, they lost the dragon, but they got the team. They got the ace.
They lost the dragon, however, I think for two towers and 5 kills, this was a really worth it, like worth payoff. Or if not 2 towers, at least like 4 plates, and now a tower bot lane as well, so it was indeed 2 towers. As Chudling's gold lead just shoots up all the way to 9k. This Olaf, this game is gonna be a menace.
Yeah, and Project Strix are going to need to find a way to shut this down if they want to stay in. You know, the score is currently 6-19 with a 9k gold lead to the Chudlings.
Yeah, the game is heavily in favor of Chudlings right now.
Yeah, it's a big hill to climb.
Again, just looking at the last fight, we've seen what has happened already, I think, twice this game, where Dino just presses his ult and runs at the enemy team and is kinda unkillable, while also unstoppable, unCCable. He does the same thing again and just runs at Poseidon and kills him. Or this time he won't make it out alive, because he has no one to hit, to heal off of.
Yeah, and with Baron popping up in less than a minute, I don't think that will affect it that much. I don't think either team, well, I don't think Project Strix is ready to go for a Baron, but if they can pick off the Olaf as Baron spawns, that is the perfect time to try and change the game around, to try and, you know, reduce that gold lead.
Yes. If we take a look at the individual items right now, hopefully while the game is a little bit slows down. Obviously, Pantheon already has his first 2 items finished, and Bessa is lagging a little bit behind. She is going for the lethality belt, so if I remember correctly, almost all lethality items are kinda cheaper.
Oh, Pantheon ult comes in. Ignite onto this Nami, trying to pick up Will.
Barely surviving there as Dino pops the ult and just starts running at the enemy team. Northstream finishes the job with a 2-man shockwave. Honestly, I don't think the fights are gonna look any different moving forward. While the gold lead in mid lane might suggest that the state between them is kind of even, the Yone is not a champion that can really do that much into this team comp, if I say it honestly, because again, if he chooses to try and stop the Olaf from doing anything, he's probably just gonna get ran over like the rest of his team. Almost see the karma die to the Baron. She had to burn the heal just in case to stay alive. Yeah, But right now, Sione is the strongest member of the Project Styx team. However, again, he doesn't really have much he can do in this game or in team fights, because Amphion is just gonna press W on him, stop him from doing anything. Olaf is gonna stat check him. He can't really kill the Orianna because she went for the tankier build.
What was that TP?
I think that was a bit of an unfortunate TP. I think there might have been a miscommunication for that TP to happen. You see Dino go down to the combined efforts of the Sejuani and Yone.
Yes, but whilst this is happening, we look in the bot lane. Orianna is knocking on the door off the base.
And Gekno manages to snipe the Sejuani. Goldie is now 11k. Project Styx still haven't taken a single tower. I think the most damage they have is on the bot lane tower, because they got to kind of siege that while Red Side was setting up for the first Drake. However, the game is in a really bad state for them.
I think part of the issue here is that, well, one, they need to try and pick off this Olaf by himself to be able to do anything, because regardless, you know, if it's a team fight, they just don't, as long as that Olaf's on the field and he's got his ult up, they're just immune from doing any damage.
Honestly, at this kind of lead that he has over the Sejuani, I don't think I'd even be like scared to say that Olaf might 1v5.
Oh, the Sejuani tries to go in for the steal but misses.
Yeah, Dino manages to get the smite over the Sejuani.
Yeah, there's not much you can do, you know, the Sejuani is level 12 with the Olaf at 15, you know, 3 levels ahead. There's, in that scenario, you just gotta try it. You know, what's another death count for?
Yeah. Froley gets caught by the shockwave from North Stream. Now really low, we'll have to reset. So Chudlings will just get the inhib for free, might even get the second one. Although North Stream's shockwave is now down, which gives Project Styx slight room for possibly a fight.
This one, the Investor goes in onto the back line.
The Yone ult goes completely wide, which baited the Embassy in, which is just unfortunate. However, again, it is what I also mentioned, that there's a lot of movement speed on the side of Chudlings. A lot of movement speed.
But with the help of that half, it looks like they're retreating. No, they're going to go back in.
This is a little bit too ambitious and maybe a little bit too greedy from Chudlings. Slime goes down to a tower shot.
Yeah, I think they need to reset and just come down with a wave, because they can clearly end this game with the lead they have. 12k going up to 13k gold.
Yeah, I think one more good fight from Chudlings and this game is over.
I don't even think they need a good fight, you know. It literally just could be Olaf takes on 5 of them and just the Orianna just goes bot and just takes down the Nexus.
That is true.
But we've got Baron up in a minute, so that'll be definitely the next objective that both teams will want to go for.
Yeah, it will be the next big fight. However, I don't think Project Styx can really contest this Baron. They have absolutely zero control over the top side, especially now with Chudlings getting the Scuttle Crab. They see all the wards, all the vision. There isn't really much that Project Styx can do here. Even if Chudlings just decide to run straight at the Baron and take the Baron, I don't think that they're just able to contest with how far behind they are.
No, I don't think they're able to contest or defend, really. It's more of a kind of reset mental, you know, take in, okay, what did we do wrong this game? You know, what could we have done better? And then just stat pad until the next game, really. Unless they can find a glorious pick on someone. With Chudlings on the Baron right now, I think this basically could be it.
Yeah, Project Styx is not even going to attempt to contest. I mean, not like they really can. Again, I think they just flat out lose every fight unless Yone hits a massive 5-man ult. But even then, that doesn't really stop the Olaf from running straight at the rest of his team and killing the rest of them. They see Chudlings 5-man sieging the top lane, trying to open the third inhibitor.
Ooh.
Massive shockwave from North Stream. We see Dino just run at the rest of the team.
And the Olaf gets a quadra kill just to end the game. That
16k goal lead at the end of the game. The whole game was in control of Chudlings. There wasn't a single moment, I think, where it looked like Project Styx might even have a chance. Be it from the first camp spawning, and Dino just taking the whole bot side jungle of Winter CV. There really wasn't anything to do for the side of Project Styx here.
No, there wasn't, but this does mean that Olaf is off the table. So next game they won't have to deal with that, as this is Fearless. So we'll have to see what they do there. I'm just trying to get the stats up, post-game stats, so we can just have a quick look at that. Even though it's probably just all going to be leaning, yep, in the Chudlings' favour. I don't even see just a smidging of blue on that gold graph. I think I remember earlier the damage chart was showing heavily in the Chudlings' favour, but the Own was coming back with those small kills that he was getting. There was some gold he was funneling.
The Own was the best bet and I think the only hope of Project Styx this game. However, again, what can he really do? Unless Olaf's ult is down, I don't think the Yone was ever gonna be able to kill the Olaf, who was obviously the biggest threat on the side of Chudlings.
Yeah, no, that Olaf was 100% the biggest threat. And yeah, like I said, as that's off the table now, we'll have to see what, you know, the Chudlings can come up with in game 2 and what Project Styx can do to try and bring themselves back in. But we're going to go for a quick 5-minute break and get set up for the next game, so don't go anywhere.
And we are back. What a dominating game one that was from the Chudlings. I believe I've been informed that they are keeping the sides for game 2, so Chudlings will take red, Project Strix will take blue. It's a question of what will we see from Project Strix, to counter that, because yes, even though it was basically just a whole champ diff, this is the upper echelon of the tournament. This is the Sweatlords. You can't just say it's a champ diff. There has to be something else. You have to do something else. So what will Project Strix be able to bring out this game? To come back. What does Frolly have as your mate's Finn? What's he got? Without spoiling it, because the Chudlings might be.
Personally, as far as I know, Frolly is a Kiana OTP, and it looks like the Chudlings already figured that one out.
Mm-hmm.
As seen by the first ban last game. But apart from the Kiana, Frolly really likes his scaling champions. That is all I'm gonna say. He likes champions that scale insanely well into the late game. You could even call them hyperscalers, especially on mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they take one of those for him. However, I also think that the fact that they took blue side instead of counterpick for Poseidon, who had a bit of a rough game, means that they are looking to target a specific pick for someone on the team. I honestly don't know who that could be, who they're trying to make the carry next game.
Well, I think we're seeing similar bans. Yep, the exact same 2 bans from game 1. Frolly being banned out straight away for his one pick, his one trick, sorry. And then we have the Rek'Sai Vi banned, same as game 1. Oh, and he just locks in Syndra. Okay, that's definitely Frolly. That's definitely a Syndra.
I think that could still be Syndra ADC. Considering the current meta.
Okay. I haven't seen a Syndra ADC yet, so this will be interesting. Even though with the current meta, that is new to me.
It is, in my opinion, kind of too hasty to insta-log the Syndra on blue 1. However,
now
it just looks like Project Strix could be just going for the current meta, just APCs, and let Frolly play basically whatever he wants.
Now this Vayne, I am hoping it's a Vayne bot, because it's a Vayne top. Gekno, you're a prick. So let's just hope that this Vayne Seraphine is in the bot lane.
I would like to think it is. Again, as far as I know, I think Vayne is one of Lime's more played champions. So this should be a Vayne bot lane instead of Vayne top lane. However, at the same time, it is also possibly still a flex pick. So if the matchup just isn't right or is right, they could just tell Gekno to take the Vayne and play top lane.
Yeah, but he wouldn't do that, right? One of our season moderators in the MiniLCS, he wouldn't be a scumbag and take a Vayne top.
I sure hope so. We do see the Nautilus come out. A Nautilus, a very good pick into Seraphine, in my honest opinion. And again, now Project Strix are actually fully committing to the current meta, where you just shove your ADC on a mage, take a roaming support with it. Let the mage farm the waves while the support just does whatever it wants around the map. As Zahan comes out.
Okay, but that's
or the red side.
That could. There's several lanes that Zahan could go in, and we've seen the Nocturne jungle from Project Streak. So more of an engaged type of champion, I would say, than the Sejuani in the last game. Definitely, this Nocturne's going to be trying to go everywhere on the map and try and gank as much possible to get the team ahead. As we see the Volley Bear ban come out from the Chudlings, and what we're going to see in reply. You can see the same type of bans. They banned out junglers last time. Project Strix. I also keep saying Strix, like there's an R in the bloody name. That's my bad. Okay, a Sylas ban. Okay, so they may be thinking to get a Malphite in there. With that type of ban, we're seeing a Renekton from the Chudlings.
I honestly think the Malphite could be the play here for Project Styx. However, I don't really recall Poseidon as someone who plays Malphite of all champions. As far as tanks go, he does have some picks that he plays. However, I don't think I've ever in my life seen him play Malphite. I do think they're just trying to make it more comfortable for Froly. Banning champs that he might not like, as we see the Ahri ban come out.
And we see the Anivia picked on the side of the Chudlings.
Now, would the Gekino pick Anivia top lane? What do we think?
Oh, I don't think so. As we're getting a hover on the Gnar.
You see the Gnar come out.
I'm not too sure about the Gnar. And
we see the Zedlock.
Okay. This is interesting now.
Yeah, this is definitely very interesting. Zed is probably one of the last champions I would have expected Froly to play. Assuming there's not some shenanigans going on and it's not for some reason Nocturne mid and Zed jungle.
Well, it
can be a surprise. you never know with Froly.
Okay, and we have the Malphite picked for the Chudlings. Okay, so that is probably a Vayne Seraphine bot, Zahan in the jungle, Anivia mid, Malphite top. Well, the Malphite, the Anivia could switch. That it could be an AP Malphite in the mid lane, Anivia top. But the Zed pick,
I think personally for the Malphite that I like the Zed matchup better. So we will have to, and again I think the Chudlings do realize that, so we will have to wait and see on where the Malphite and Anivia actually go, because again both of them can go to either one of the lanes.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, even though we were saying, you know, we think it's the Syndra Nautilus bot, it could, for whatever reason, it could be the Zed Nautilus bot.
Definitely. However,
it would be.
I think it is more likely for the Syndra to go bot. I wouldn't even say just because we are in a meta where mages go bot lane, but just for the simple reason that I don't think the Zed would really have done much of a fun game into a Vayne and Seraphine.
Yeah, no, that is true. Well, who do you think, with the current comp, who do you think can win this game?
Personally, again, I have to say the Chudlings went for the safer option with their draft, while Project Styx definitely surprised me a lot, especially with the Z pick. However, again, just like in the first game, I will have to favor the safer draft, so the Chudlings draft. Just because, again, I just feel like it's so much easier to pilot and navigate. So there's less stuff that can go wrong.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. I think it's more looking at the draft itself. I think it's more on the side of the Chudlings. But we'll see. You know, these are two strong teams. You know, they're both high echelon teams. They should know what they're doing. They should have rehearsed this comp at least, and so, you know, we'll have to wait until we get into game to see if Project Strix can, you know, pull it out of the bag.
Definitely. I honestly think that once again this game will mostly depend on how the mid matchup goes. I will assume it is Zed versus Anivia mid lane. However, just based on how that matchup goes, this game could be very interesting, because if this Zed gets fed, realistically, who's stopping him from killing Vayne, Seraphine, and Nivea on repeat?
Yeah. But definitely, I can see, like, if the Zed is in the mid lane, then 100% that Nocturne is going to be focusing on the mid, focusing on bot as well, because, you know, Zed, Syndra, if they're both fed, they can delete anyone.
Very much so. I don't even think that Project Strix will have an issue with team fights. Again, the Nautilus or the Nocturne providing some DPS in addition to Zed and Syndra's burst damage. They shouldn't really struggle in that department. However, again, it also depends on if they can at least stay even until a certain point in the game, but the big team fights actually start happening. Because once they start falling behind, this risky team comp is gonna start falling apart, just like we saw last game.
Now, this isn't game over for Project Strix if they lose this game and lose this series. They can run it back in the loser bracket, and we have seen teams do that. Notably, the Cutters Cuties. They have won all 3 of their trophies from running it back in the losers bracket. So there's always a possibility. This isn't game over yet, unlike some other games that are happening today. I believe we have 3 loser rounds. Yep, we have 2 in the Hard Stuck and 1 in the Weenie Hut, and I believe one of those games is being streamed by someone else right now. So if you want to open it in another window, not saying leave this stream, open it in another window, you can just go to the Discords, check the streams tab, and I think there are 2 people who are streaming 2 other games. But don't leave this game, of course.
I think there's also another game going on in Sweatlords now, between Shaymaker and Big Bad Buttercups. That's also a loser bracket game.
Yes, there is, yeah. No, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, there's actually 4 elimination games today. And I believe one of the Chudlings players is streaming their POV as well.
Yes, I think Dino, the jungler for the Chudlings, is streaming his POV.
So yeah, but we've got another minute until we get into game. What's your current role, I guess, right now? You said that before, that you play
right now. I definitely mostly play mid.
Okay, so you've been training Frolly then?
I wouldn't say I've been training him. Obviously, he has a lot to learn from me, the low plat, hard stack player. However, there hasn't been much that I've taught him.
So what has he taught you then?
Probably that Kiana is a way easier champion than she looks like. Because honestly, one thing about Frolly, if you ask him about Kiana, he will say this exact thing, that Kiana is way easier than she looks. And then he'll try to tell you to start playing Kiana so he can coach you.
The question is, will we ever get to see him play the Kiana?
No, I don't think so. I think these teams think that Frolly is just bad off Kiana, so they will keep banning it to force him on the other picks. However, personally, I think Frolly, compared to his current rank, because if I'm seeing right on the OPGG right now, he is Emerald 1. However, I will also say that is because he DK'd. He hasn't played a ranked game in a long while. He only spammed games to get the required game count for the tournament. However, I would say he definitely deserves a higher rank, and he is a decent player.
Well, we will have to see if he can show us how decent he is as we go into game 2 of this semi-finals or of the Sweatlords bracket. So okay, it is confirmed here from looking at this. It is the Syndra in the bot lane, the Zed in the mid.
And obviously Anivia in the mid lane and Malphite in the top lane. Looking at the runes, I'm kind of surprised. Or I wouldn't even say surprised. It is the standard rune page at this point, I think. However, I wouldn't have thought Frolly would go for the first strike here against Anivia. Especially because after level 6, he will never have a chance to proc it unless he jumps out from a bush. As for the rest, everyone seems to have the standard rune setup. Except for maybe Nar, who went for the lethal tempo, because obviously in the early game he can be quite oppressive against the Malphite, so he will be able to stack that lethal tempo fairly fast. Or he did go for Doran's shield as his first item. See, Frolly being zoned off his own minions by the Anivia. Not really much he can do there. This game, Dino didn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dino did not go for the invade. Honestly, it makes sense. We can see that the blue side put up a ward, so this time they would have at least been aware of it. However, I don't think Zahen is really an invade-heavy champion, especially into the Nocturne. I don't think if the Nocturne decided to contest that Zahen would be able to win. Sure, no. He does have his passive, so a prolonged fight would have gone better for him. However, try getting that passive up without the abilities. It just takes so long.
Yeah, I don't think it would have worked out, especially in the early game right now. So both junglers just clearing both the camps. Potentially we could see a gank
after the scuttle, as Zahin should be getting to the scuttle first. Oh no, what
He is clearing his blue buff right now.
Well, Nocturne does have a quicker clear, so that's understandable.
Nocturne will go straight for the recall while Dino is trying to make his way towards the top side. Nautilus goes wide. Nocturne cancels his recall because he thought there might be an angle. He cancels it again.
Nice. There's the flash out from the Seraphine.
Both flash and heal from the Seraphine.
You could say that it's worth. However, the Nocturne did, you know, try to recall twice there, so it has wasted quite a lot of time. But with the fast clear, should be able to make it back.
Yes, indeed. We can also see, I assume Dino was the one pinging that on the map. We did see some pings come out on Nocturne's Gromp. Again, I just can't praise this guy, Dino guy, enough. He is, in my opinion, the best player in the whole MiniLCS right now. At least speaking of the tournament.
Wait, who is Dino specifically? Because the name
True to myself, the Zahan.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, he is
Challenger
challenger
for Chudlings. Yes.
Doesn't seem like he's boosted.
Yeah, he definitely isn't boosted.
But it's definitely a different type of game than what we saw in game one. It's a lot more slower paced, I would say.
It definitely is way slower. We see Gekno go in the Gnar with the ult. Be able to kill here.
But the flash out from the Gnar gets away, and the Malphite doesn't have enough mana now. And as Gnar goes mega, we'll be able to get him. It's a stun. Oh, into the wall. Jump on top and...
Honestly, for a second that looked a bit sketchy for the Gnar. For a second I thought he might not even be able to get the kill.
Yeah, it was touch and go, but he managed to pull it off, making a Malphite. Well, they both used flash in that. I think it was just a misplay from Gekno. You know, he thought he had enough damage, enough mana to actually deal with the Gnar, but the shield that came out,
I wouldn't even say it was greedy from Gekno. However, it was slightly unlucky because you can see that the Gnar has Doran's shield, which kind of gives him a little bit more health regen. So during that whole scuffle, he probably regened a bit more than he would if he had Doran's Blade, even through the Doran's Blade Omnivamp, which barely allowed him to survive.
I think that, plus the fact that he got level 6 off one of those minions during the fight, allowed the Gnar to come back into it, as we're seeing another fight in the top lane. This time I think the Gnar won't be able to escape this one.
He won because Zahan shows up. Has to burn the ult, however.
Burn the ult and the flash.
He had to burn the flash to save Gekno. However, he had to burn the ult to confirm the kill. However, I think burning the ult here is fine.
There was a Nocturne ult comes out onto this Malphite. Malphite ults away, but the smite and the slow from the Nocturne, and I think this is it. Oh, but he had to flash that. I don't know if
that was very unfortunate for Gekno there, because Unstoppable in this game works a little bit weird in my opinion, where if you get stunned during Unstoppable, you still have to like live out the rest of the CC after the Unstoppable ends. So him getting feared right as he used the ult obviously slowed him, so he could not get away. Honestly, Gekno this game is getting quite a bit unlucky. However, he is also on the Malphite. I don't think he should be trying to go for all these extra flashy plays and attempts at solo killing the Gnar. He is gonna have insane value either way, as long as he just keeps his farm up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Late game, his value will skyrocket for the engages, you know, I guess he's trying to, you know, show himself whilst we're streaming this game. You know, he wants to show everyone why he's, well, actually, what rank is he? I think he's Emerald.
I think at the moment Gekno is Diamond 175 LP. Unless the OPGG is not updated.
No, I think that's right. I think I was reading off someone else's Emerald.
Yes, he is Diamond 175 LP. Right on the border of that Master rank.
Now, one lane we haven't talked about at all is this bot lane. You know, it's been very quiet, apart from that gank at the beginning of the game. Nothing's really happened. Both fairly even, you know, on the farm, on the CS.
There is.
Oh, as I say
just
that,
we start talking about it. Honestly, I kind of expected the bot lane to be kind of tame like this. However, what I did not expect is this Nautilus basically just sitting on lane, fishing for hooks on either the Seraphine or the Vayne. Personally, I would have liked him to roam a bit more, because let's be honest, again, one of the reasons this meta right now with Mage's bot lane is so huge is because the supports can just roam for free. They can do whatever they want on the map. You see fight happening top lane. I think Gekno just walks away here, survives with a sliver of HP. But as I was saying, the fact that the supports can roam so freely, I don't think I'll be able to finish it with Gekno and Poseidon trading blows again and again. However, this time Gekno comes out on top and gets the solo kill. And another fight happening bot lane. Syndra ult, Seraphine ult coming out with the Nocturne following up. Probably goes for the ult as well. Gets the kill on Lime. I'm in quite a bit of trouble here, however, he manages to get his stacks up and gets the passive off. He just collects the kill as Gekno teleport collects the last kill. A very positive fight for the side of Chudlings. This is exactly what we've been mentioning. If at any point Project Styx starts falling behind, the game is gonna get way harder for them. Now Dino again has the lead over Winter CV, so the jungle matchup honestly definitely wasn't supposed to be that interesting at all, because again Dino is a challenger player, and if I've seen correctly on the OPGGs, Winter is around that low master. So it is kind of to be expected that Dino is going to dominate in the jungle. However, the rest of the map has been shaping up kind of the same for both games right now. Nord Stream again getting that CS lead over Froly, while Froly is trying to look for some sort of plays and picks on both Nord Stream and other lanes, as we've seen by the roam. Top lane this game bit more volatile compared to last game. So while last game it was very one-sided towards Gekno, this game both sides are really even.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even though the Chudlings are up 2k, this isn't over yet. This is a lot more closer game than the last game. It's more, if this gold lead snowballs like you said, then this will be Chudling's game to win.
Definitely. And I don't think I finished explaining the meta. Ooh, that was a honestly very bad E from Poseidon.
Oh.
He E'd right as his mega form was about to expire, and that just leads to him getting killed. Could be unfortunate, could be an inexperience on the champion not realizing that he's gonna stop like that. Poseidon so far has had a very rough series.
Oh, and that was advantageous. Oh, by the Nocturne.
Dino collects a triple kill on bot lane.
Oh, will probably be able to. Nope. Oh, I don't think he has damage.
He uses the flash. Try and kill Nord Stream there, however. I don't think he might be able to kill him under his tower if he plays this well.
But that bot lane, that bot lane fight. I don't understand. Seraphine, very good Seraphine ult right there. And with the Zahid just around the corner, was able to come in and help pick them off one by one. Yeah, just a bad call, I think, to go in.
Zahender on cleanup duty. Obviously, it was a very bad call. The Nocturne already pressed ult on the Vayne when she was under the tower. I think they should have just given up. Should have been happy with getting Prio on bot lane. They could have gotten their recall in. One interesting thing right now, we can see Lime is going for the crit Vayne build rather than the on-hit Vayne build. Obviously, personally, it makes sense to me. There are really no tanky targets for who he would need multiple passive procs to kill, or multiple W passive procs to kill. So it does make sense to go for the crit build here. Syndra is not having a fun game.
No, it's kind of a repeat of game one there.
Probably does get the solo kill on Lime on bot lane though.
Yeah, and the gold lead now at 5.7k, and this is just looking like another game one right here, just a bit slower.
I think this game is still playable for the side of Project Stakes. Obviously it's gonna be very hard, but it is definitely still playable. This Gekno gets another solo bolo on the Gnar. Game is gonna be really hard. Realistically, Froley is right now the only person with any sort of damage who can also reliably get on top of the Vayne or the Anivia.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, who do you think can help bring this game back for Project Styx? Your trust is in Froley.
It will have to be on Froley. However, the issue is right now the biggest carry on the side of Chudlings. That was not a very good play from Froley. He doesn't even get the trade back. But again, Froley's main job obviously is to kill the Vayne, the Seraphine, the Anivia perhaps. However, the slight issue is those three right now are not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the Malphite and Zahan. However, he will never be able to kill the Malphite, because if we take a look at Malphite's items, he already has the Sunfire Cape, the Frozen Heart, the Tabis, and he is about to build another armor item. So Froley should never be able to touch that guy. While the Zahan personally can definitely win against the Zed in a 1v1. So realistically, what is Froley's job this game?
Yeah,
I think the side of Project Styx should look to play more around the Syndra, or should have looked for more roams from their support, especially when they're going for the mage bot lane setup with the engage support. Again, one of the reasons why it's really good is because the mages can really easily clear waves, which leaves them less vulnerable compared to the ADCs, especially compared to someone like Vayne, who obviously only has single target damage. So it allows the supports to roam more actively, look for plays elsewhere, try to get everyone else ahead, while the supports while the mages just kind of exist and farm waves.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that from either support this game. I think both of them stuck to the carry.
Both supports were kind of lane locked for now, as I think Siren got kind of bugged into the wall there by the Anivia wall, so he couldn't even move.
Yeah, sadly
we can't, that damage for free.
We can't do any chrono breaks here. We don't have those facilities to roll that back. We've seen a double TP coming out in the top lane. Guess it's just to push this back. Now, this is a repeat of last game where they weren't... Project Styx didn't get any towers, or haven't got any towers at the 20-minute mark.
It is looking very, very grim right now for Project Styx.
We've got Baron coming up. Well, Baron is up. So...
Well, I don't really think there is a way again for Project Styx to contest here. The gold lead is now 9k. And while again most of it is on the Zahan, basically everyone on the side of Chudlings is up at least 1k gold.
His turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, which is a stark contrast to the game before, where at least there was one. It was Froley on the own who had a slight lead. This time it's different, but we're seeing both a gank onto this Malphite, but he ults away. Ignite is ticking, but I think he might. No. He's boxed in. This is
honestly, this is a really good play by Gekno. Even though he has to trade his life and his Baron buff away, he did waste quite a bit of time. We did see all five members of Project Styx converge on him, which just allows Dino and Nord Stream to get the tower top lane.
Yeah, and now 30 seconds on the Baron, and it is a Cloud Drake Soul. It's not Soul, but it is a Cloud Drake, which will definitely be...
Cloud Drake is honestly really big for the side of Chudlings. One thing you really hate to see is a Vayne, an invisible Vayne running at you at million movement speed while you can't even hit her. And with the Cloud Drake and Cloud Soul, she's gonna be even faster.
Yeah, and I think the Cloud Soul would benefit both teams here, but as you said, for the Chudlings, this is definitely a big one.
I mean, many people will say, and I do definitely agree, that movement speed is the most broken stat in the game. Intro goes for the steal way too late, pays for it with his life, doesn't even get the steal. I think if I saw correctly, the Sidon got picked off even earlier. Now they also pick off the Syndra. I honestly think Chudlings could even try to go for an end here. Or if not an end, then at least an inhibitor, maybe another tower. Holy dies again. Fortunately caught.
I think they will go for the end. You know, 30 seconds on the Zed, the main damage dealer. Now another 30 seconds on the Nautilus. There's not much.
Yeah, the health bars on the size of Chudlings are still insanely high. Maybe there was a miracle play that could have happened, however, Chudlings will claim the win over Project Styx in a very dominant fashion.
Yeah, a very dominant series, and they will advance to the next stage with Project Styx going into the losers bracket. They're not down and out yet, but you know, potentially a demoralizing defeat right there. I don't know, where do you think it came from? The champ diff or comp diff basically?
I think the whole issue for the side of Project Styx was the fact that they went for the slightly riskier drafts with the mage ADC. I think I don't know what ranged top plays usually. It does seem like he is a Karthus OTP now that I'm quickly looking at it, which I guess explains the Karthus ban. However, I don't think forcing him like trying to play for the mage bot lane while also not really utilizing the fact that the support can just basically roam for free and win the rest of the map. I don't really think that was the play. Obviously, the biggest issue for Project Styx was the fact that the jungle was... it just didn't go their way at all. First game, Dino gets to clear the whole bot side of Winter CB. Second game was just kind of a bunch of bad plays from the side of Winter CB. I honestly can't really say what the issue was, like, because again, just while watching these games, Project Styx got completely outclassed by Chudlings.
Yeah, no,
it was not really close.
Yeah, they definitely did. There was maybe some hopes in both games at the beginning, but as it went into like the mid phase, it just snowballed out of control. And yeah, I think it partly has to do with the comp, the mage comp that they picked for the bot lane. It just didn't. It just didn't pull it off. It didn't do anything for them.
Yeah. I think game one, honestly, you can even pin the blame on just Riot designing very amazing champion named Olaf, because it was kind of a one-man show with the Olaf just running at them all the time and kind of running them over because he's just unstoppable. You can't CC him. However, game two, I honestly think Project Sticks kind of outdrafted themselves by picking the Z in the last pick. However, the blame is not entirely on that. Again, the game did not even seem close on any lane, except for maybe mid lane. However, again, Froley did not have the best of times against Nord Stream either.
Yeah, that's true. Now, with that, let me just grab in the website to show where that puts us on the table, and to get some little bit of information on who's progressed so far, because as I said before, there are 7 series going on today. There are 7 matches going on. Right now, I believe only 2 are confirmed to have been completed. That is this series of Project Sticks versus the Chudlings. And I think in the Weenie Huts, we finally know who got knocked out. So if I bring up the playoffs bracket, Chudlings go through with a 2-0. They will be facing Lucidity Red, who I think right now are undefeated. I might be wrong there. In the semi-finals, or if you want to call it the winners' finals. And then we ignore this because that's wrong. This game is still going on right now, so we don't have information. You'll have to check the website when that finishes. The same with all the games in the hard stocks right now. They're still going on, so potentially they're all going to 3s. But what we do know is the game between Wizard Ninjas versus Dagsonian Death Squads. The Wizard Ninjas are out with a 2-0 victory to my former team. Dagstonians, get in there, lads. This is the furthest that they have got. Be it that the last season, the last tournament, we didn't do double eliminations, it was single eliminations. But yeah, I think this is wrong. I believe Project Sticks will be facing the Mouser Mafia, I believe. The website will be updated shortly with the corrections. But yeah, who do you think deserves the MVP?
Personally, Dino. Dino was very, very clean this whole series. There wasn't a single moment where he did not have a lead. And obviously he completely outclassed Winter CV this series. I think very close runner-up would have to be Gekno, even though the start to his game 2 was a bit rocky. He did end up solo killing Poseidon a few times, and the first game he was also very dominating on the lane and had some presence across the map as well. However, in my opinion, between those two, Dino was just the MVP this whole series.
Well, we don't get to choose. It is the viewers that get to choose. Oh, pardon me. Who they want to pick as MVP. So I'll chuck in Gekno. I'll chuck in True to Myself, and we just need one more for them to vote between. I'm going to say North Stream as the final one.
I would agree.
Mainly because I personally felt that the bot lane was somewhat non-existent for both teams. That is, this isn't just digging onto one team, I think in both teams the bot lane was non-existent, whereas the rest of the lanes, there was a lot more going on there.
Well, I wouldn't say the bot lane was non-existent for both teams. However, it is kind of hard to notice them when the top side of the map is performing the way it was.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like normally top lane, it's just a bitch fight. It's just slapping each other constantly, where nothing happens. But this time, a lot happened. With Gekno getting several kills there. So yeah, vote now. The vote is up on Twitch. Vote who do you want to be the series MVP. Currently, it was tied with both Gekno and True to Myself, but now True to Myself is taking over. It does make sense. And we'll leave that up for another few minutes. I think the next series, the Chudlings versus Lucidity Red, is going to be a big series to watch. Having streamed the last 2 games of Lucidity Red, they dominated both their games, I would say. Maybe not as hard as this domination, but it definitely felt like they were in the driver's seats for those. So going up against another team who, at least in this game, dominated, or this series dominated, it should be quite an interesting matchup.
Yes, I think so too. I definitely hope both of these teams will do their best and take us to at least Game 3, but I think the next match between them is a best of 5, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, the next match for the Chudlings versus Lucidity Red is a best of 5. We did see a best of 5 earlier today in the Weenie Hut with the Holy Poro versus Rift Raiders, where the Holy Poro came out 3-1 on that. So we should see a lot more champs this time, you know. The pools are expanded, and as this is, you know, the higher echelon, people should have those pools, should have deep pools to be able to pick out. This isn't, you know, Weenie Hut where players mainly, you know, main 2 to 3 champs, and that's it. So we should be able to see a lot more, I would say, which would be very good to watch.
Hopefully. Well, but because it is not gonna be a best of 3 series, I will have to say that I do wish both teams will bring their best, and it will be a fun 5-game series. Obviously, I would feel a bit sorry for whoever would have to cast all 5 games, but the audience deserves 5 games, especially after the performances that both teams have been displaying.
Well, the vote is done, and it's actually Gekno who has topped the vote here. Right, yeah, Gekno wins series MVP. Congratulations.
Honestly, it is a fair win in my opinion. Dino was insanely dominant the whole series, while Gekno obviously had his insane game 1 on the Pantheon. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, that wraps it up for us today. There are some other games going on right now, and actually we'll send you over to them. I'll just check which ones are live. I believe still the
Wiener, Artificial Wiener Intelligence versus Critical Fart in the Hardstock is still going on. And I think so is... Nope, that is the only one that's going on, right. So we are going to leave it off here and send it over to that channel. Thank you very much for casting with me, Som. Otherwise this would have been a absolute shitfest if it was just me. Because I cannot do
thank you for having me.
As you probably could all tell, I know what's going on, I just can't say it as such. It's just like, oh yeah, there's this, there's that. You helped fill that in, so thank you very much. Hopefully we can get you back on with a proper play-by-play person next time.
Yeah, I will definitely be looking forward to another opportunity to cast, and I thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Alright, we're gonna head to the hold screen and then raid over into this Artificial Wiener Intelligence Critical Fart where just a massive team fight just happened, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.